Now you're live, guys.
Perfect. Good. So, hello everyone. Hello Logan. Great having you here. Yeah, we started this podcast or kind of discussions. This is already the fifth one to show the real builders in Cardano, and especially how the builders are kind of very focused and targeted on the Vision 2030 KPIs. The product vision 2030 KPIs. And it's a pleasure to have today Logan with me, which is kind of two hats. One is the Clarity DAO, the work they're doing there, which is incredible. It's kind of an obvious use case if we want for blockchain around DAOs. Really excited to hear the progress there. And then the second hat is the Cardano Builder DAO, which we will speak a little bit about that. But yeah, Logan, great having you here. How are you?
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It's great to be here and just have the opportunity to share what's going on and some of my thoughts.
Yeah, so let's start with Clarity, please. Again, as I started, I think it's kind of a Clarity DAO. It's an obvious use case for blockchain. So tell us a little bit about it and about the opportunity for Cardano with Clarity.
Yeah, definitely. I think to take a step back before we get into it, just want to talk a little bit about the 2030 vision and how I see it and what it's all about for the audience. But really, recently the product committee came out with the 2030 vision for Cardano. And from a high level, really what this 2030 vision is about is becoming the world's operating system for identity, for DeFi, this type of thing. So it's a big goal. And this 2030 vision creates KPIs, kind of North Star KPIs for the ecosystem and TVL, monthly transactions and monthly active users. So yeah, like you said, I kind of wear a few different hats across the ecosystem, but the work we're doing with Clarity and the Cardano Builder DAO is focused on exactly that, which is turning infrastructure and products into adoption. So yeah, with Clarity, our focus is governance infrastructure, enterprise onboarding. So we're primarily a B2B service, which I'll get into. And we also focus on kind of helping to manage the Cardano treasury withdrawals through decentralized on-chain smart contract treasuries as well. And you can see that with the Builder DAO, which I'm sure we'll get into more a little later. But yeah, I mean, with DAOs are an interesting concept because they're a new organizational structure, and pretty much they can become a new coordination layer for organizations. And while Clarity does do a lot of work on the DAO side, we work with whether it's a sports team trying to engage their fan base, or a homeowners association that doesn't have a way to vote online yet, or a project natively in Cardano. These are all organizations that have the structure where they have people at the fringes of the organization that all need to participate. So a decentralized organization is oftentimes the best solution for them. But on top of that, I think one of the most exciting things about Clarity is that we're not just providing DAO infrastructure, we're providing blockchain governance infrastructure. Oftentimes there's so many use cases where they don't want to put all their funds in a treasury and have to, rally up people to vote to reach an execution threshold, but rather they want to have a clear audit trail of, okay, this person casted their vote, this person casted their vote, which triggers it to go to this committee, and so forth. So yeah, we have a lot going on at Clarity across a handful of different use cases surrounding DAOs and also just governance and treasury management infrastructure.
Yeah, no, it's great. And it's great also that you gave some more info about the specific KPIs, and I was trying to share my screen here. But definitely check out the Vision 2030 KPIs, and just to dive specifically on the numbers there. But you mentioned, for the DAOs, there's maybe comes to mind two different use cases. One is kind of DAOs, right, that being created from the bottom up. And we saw a lot of that in the beginning, but you also mentioned some DAOs that actually can be huge already from the beginning, like government and sports team. We talked with Barcelona Football Club. This is a kind of a DAO that is 100 years old DAO already, but not yet on chain, because it's owned by the fans. So what is your approach? I mean, to go to market approach, is it both? Is it more focusing on the bigger kind of ecosystems?
Yeah, I think those are always interesting use cases in terms of the fan-owned clubs, right? Because really they're DAOs before DAOs existed, and then I think it's a similar thing with the HOAs, which is homeowners associations here, which we have millions of here in the States. It's literally just like a community of people. They have to vote on stuff. They have to see insight into what is the board doing, how are they spending money, all this type of stuff. So you have these already kind of decentralized coordination structures in society already. So that's where we look to. It's like, okay, where are these groups of people that need to cast votes? You can also look at shareholders of a public organization. With Sarbanes-Oxley, like how does putting your governance on chain help reduce risk for your corporation, things like that. So we look for those use cases where there's already people together that need to cast votes, that need to participate in governance. But I think the main challenge with that is, these organizations oftentimes, a pure DAO has a treasury that's governed by smart contracts and there's an execution threshold. But, the concept of a DAO and managing people in a decentralized way is powerful, even if you don't have a treasury in a lot of use cases. And I'm sure with Barcelona, for example, you guys are working on that project. They don't necessarily probably want to have a treasury where the fans are voting on how to spend money, but they do want a way to say, okay, these fans are contributing in this way. How can they be rewarded for their loyalty, et cetera, et cetera. So that's where we look in the real world. But on a different sense, you have kind of this path where it's, I'll tell two other ways we're going about it. One is within Cardano. So oftentimes you have, whether it's a DeFi protocol or a DePIN project, whatever it may be, on their roadmap, they talk about implementing governance. So we help those projects go from, okay, we have our protocol up, we have our products, now we really want to infuse the community into our operations, and we help projects do that. And the last thing, which I'm really excited about, and I think this is probably the most high potential thing that we're working on right now, is government sales. And this is a long sales cycle. You got to get in touch with the innovation offices. More often than not, you have to run a workshop where you're introducing the technology that can solve these problems, and then talk to these different government officials and say, okay, where could blockchain solve problems within your workflows? So we're actually running a workshop with 40 to 50 government officials in Peru coming up here later in the month to uncover some use cases to see, where we can drive adoption of Cardano there. So really exciting stuff. We're working on a lot of different fronts on the Clarity thing to drive enterprise adoption. And at the end of the day, with these enterprise type deals, maybe say we are able to run a pilot to run elections, that could bring hundreds of thousands, millions of people on at the same time, which really helps make a dent in the KPIs that we're looking to achieve by 2030 as an ecosystem.
Yeah, that's amazing. So first of all, just to come back to the comment you mentioned before on fans or audience that is not on the blockchain. So I think what we are starting to see with different tools being built on this ecosystem, like Mesh and other tools, is that they actually don't need to know that they are on the
exactly.
blockchain.
And
so,
I'm
yeah.
Go ahead if you wanted to finish.
No, I mean, so and that's amazing, right? So the treasury is kind of the spending on chain is being done by the treasury, by basically by the team, and it's part of the cost of having the platform, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think, that it's even talked about in the 2030 vision in Pillar 2, which is invisible technology. And I am so bullish on this, and not bullish, but I think everyone needs to realize that people are not going to know they're using blockchain when they're using blockchain. Blockchain is going to solve problems of privacy, of transparency at the highest levels. And then the end user is going to say, oh, it was so easy to cast a vote on my phone. And it's also preserving their privacy through a digital identity. And at the same time, it's casting it on chain so that they know their vote is counted. Just things like that. So the end users, the biggest use cases, the biggest winners in blockchain, the end users aren't going to really know it's blockchain. Maybe if they dig into it, they realize that. But I'm really bullish on that. And then just to talk about one other thing that I wanted to bring up is Clarity does also a lot of work on pillar 3 within the vision, which is the governance pillar. And this is the pillar that talks about, look, governance needs to be easy. We need to have good participation. So we've done a lot of things surrounding, building a DREP, Explorer. We're going to actually make it so that you can vote on Cardano governance actions in the Clarity platform pretty soon here, because a lot of people are requesting that. As other tools in the ecosystem, I guess they haven't liked them. So we're going to try to build a good solution for that. But yeah, we touch a lot of things in Cardano, and we've been here a while, and we really want to help the ecosystem achieve these KPIs.
It's amazing, and I want to come back again to the government use case that you mentioned, because I think it's important. So from one side, I mean, this use case by itself probably can reach the Vision 2030 KPI, right? Like 1 million users for a government is not small amounts of numbers. But the challenge there, right, is the time it required, right, and the sales cycles, as you mentioned. And I also think, I mean, if we look a little bit on the adoption phase, so we started with protocol, infrastructure, tooling, and now we get into maturity, legal compliance, and security compliance, and we get into maturity of really where it starts to be easy to implement the different solutions at scale. So my assumption that, and I think we see it and we feel it. And also I heard yesterday Frederick from at Cardano over coffee speaking about more and more enterprises contacting CF. So I feel that as well, that more and more enterprises showing interest in blockchain implementation. So we're really there. The question is, we have really 2030 KPIs. I think we are going to surpass them, but we at least want to meet them, right? And what do you feel? I mean, the sales cycle, I mean, 3 years, again, just for clarity to meet the KPIs. Is that something, how do we make sure we are going to make it? That's my question. I mean, how do we, you're talking with one government, maybe we need to open 10 government discussions at the same time, right? To make sure that one will convert, and then what do you think about that? I mean,
look, I think that, at Clarity, we're swinging for the fences, trying to hit a home run by landing a government. I think every single builder in the Cardano ecosystem needs to do the same things. If 2 of us are successful and we have that unicorn growth, that's when we see us meeting our KPIs. We also can't be afraid of failure. Like, we have to go after it. So look, the reason we're doing this in Peru is because they've had, we've partnered with their digital secretariat or their Secretariat of Digital Transformation. And we're trying to prove out that, hey, we can go into governments, we can have educational workshops to educate them about this new technology that can solve a whole host of their problems, can solve identity fraud, it can solve election integrity, like these big controversies in a lot of these nations. So yeah, I guess that's how it happens for me, is we're going to prove it out in Peru and try to take it to other places. I know we're trying to talk to innovation offices within each state in the United States right now too. So yeah, we just got to keep trying, keep knocking on doors.
So maybe it's a good actually to explain that further. So you found a hero or a champion within the government in this case, right? I mean, from my experience, many times to go into any partnership, you need to find a hero, someone that, and then also work with them on, because it takes time, right? It's not that you sell and it takes time, so you need to work with them. And so that's your case in Peru. Basically, you find the right champion that you are working with, and then you build the roadmap basically toward this implementation.
No, that's right. Yep.
Okay, that's cool. How did you get to him? That's the curiosity.
So yeah, we actually were able to hire a head of business development in South America, because as we seen it, me and my co-founder Justin, we're both based in the States, and we think that the LATAM region especially is very, I think, crypto forward, able to it's something they really need it within their systems. So we wanted to start doing some business down there, and yeah, he ended up bridging the gap and paving the path so that we could have this workshop and present these ideas. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
So you can basically, you found a region that you can leapfrog basically the government implementation. I'm actually now in Brazil and will be here in the next month. I will be also in Builder Fest in Argentina in a couple of weeks. Good. No, very, very good. Let's jump a little bit from here to, you mentioned that there's a lot of builders working on unicorn kind of solutions. So you did an incredible initiative, the Cardano Builder DAO, CB DAOs, that I'm honored to be part of it, also with the Andamio team and the process that is going on now. Maybe you can speak a little bit about that and what you are trying to achieve that, and how that relate to the 2030 KPIs.
Yeah, definitely. So the Builder DAO, it's been a labor of love mostly because, I think back when it was just an idea, we were talking about, how there needs to be alternative systems for builders to get funding, maybe frame it as like a Catalyst graduate program where, okay, you have a proven product, now it's your time to scale it. So how do you get scaling capital in the Cardano ecosystem? So that's why we created it. And then we just started hopping on calls with every builder in the ecosystem we knew throughout the years, and just said, hey, what's up? We're thinking about starting this kind of grassroots movement to create a DAO where the builders govern the funds and fund the best projects in the ecosystem. But the thing about the KPIs is that this funding is KPI based. So we have a KPI dashboard where you can see every single project, what their goals for their KPIs for their 6-month proposal is, where they're at now. We're also launching V2 of this dashboard, which aligns us directly with the 2030 vision by pulling in on-chain data for monthly active wallets, TVL, and on-chain transactions. So we're trying to showcase that, there is a way to, instead of having, a million different proposals come in each year, you can have strategic initiative buckets that serve a specific purpose in the ecosystem, that have transparent KPI reporting mechanisms as well, so that we can just have a more cohesive treasury strategic strategy of funds that come from the treasury. But overall, I think, look, the goal of the Builder DAO is, one, to be extremely transparent so the D-reps can always come in and check out what's going on. 2, it needs to be open to all proven builders, which we have a process put in place so that we see, okay, you have a company, you have a working product. Some people have to get voted in, some people don't. But again, the CB DAO changes all the time. We have different governance actions, and it's truly an evolving mechanism where builders are saying, okay, hey, here's a change we need to make. And then we go in and we make the change. But yeah, I guess question for you is how have you found the Builder DAO? I know you're a new member. You've come to a handful of meetings now. What do you think about it?
So first, I wanted to say it's extremely impressive. First of all, by the energy there is there. I mean, the energy between the people, and I think it's more, it's really the builders coming together, and there's a lot of great energy there. And I find extremely the peer review process now in the DAO, I think, was really, really extraordinary, because, I mean, it was very tough because every builder had to read all the proposal of the other builders and give feedbacks, and then people have to reply to the feedback. So it's very helpful, and it's really a deep and strong process that I think was very important. One thing that we discussed and kind of to try and improve, I think the Vision 2030 KPI is something that came after the DAO kind of was started, and as it was started, and I think now creating this alignment between the DAO and Intersec and the product committee and the growth and marketing committee and the KPIs, I think it's very important. Next step.
Yeah, the funny thing about that is we so the Builder DAO signed a contract with Tap Tools before the 2030 vision came out, and within that contract, it was V2 of the dashboard needed to pull monthly active users directly from the chain. And it was funny, and then the 2030 vision came out, and we were like, wow, that's perfect. This is what we kind of planned to do. But no, we're so happy that it aligned with that.
Yeah, because I think eventually one thing that come all the time on the ecosystem is that we need better coordination, right, between the ecosystem. So because the ecosystem will succeed. If we will have one unicorn, we probably then will have 5 more unicorns coming, right, faster, and then 10 unicorns and so on. But so the ecosystem coordination is very important, and I think you are doing it great through the DAO. And again, it's evolving, it's changing, it's improving all the time, but you need to start somewhere. It's already in great shape from what I'm seeing. So well done for all the work being done there, because it's a lot of work. I don't know if people understand how much work is being done, but it's a lot of work. But then it's not enough. Then we need to coordinate, with the funding entities, with Intersect, with the different committees. And then I think we will have, we work as an ecosystem basically for the success of everyone. So now you're basically, there's a funding process there, and it's and there's a voting process there also about who will get the funding, and I'm excited to see really then about the implementation. And maybe if we go to that, I mean, if we go back to what you think will be in 2026 with Clarity, going back a little bit to Clarity, what good surprises you will have, or how do you feel Clarity will impact the KPIs?
Look, I mean, one thing that we are going for steadfast and wholeheartedly is a government pilot. So we're going to keep pushing on that front. Hopefully by the end of the year we have something. I can't promise it. There's some things out of our control, but I can promise that we're going to do everything we can to get our technology build on top of our APIs and SDK to build a government pilot, to bring a government into the fold on blockchain adoption and in a big way. And outside of that, I mean, we're also going to be continuing to help Cardano in the treasury withdrawal process, to have, strategic initiatives where funds can be collectively governed by the community for specific things, specific categories. Maybe it's marketing, maybe it's open source, maybe it's core tools, but having these strategic initiative buckets so that we can have a transparent way to govern the funds and also track KPIs of these different initiatives in alignment with our 2030 vision. I think those are the two biggest things I'm excited for. We're definitely going to keep pushing on landing these already DAO-like organizations that exist in society, whether it's HOAs, sports fan clubs, things like that. So look, we'll be working every day to bring more people into Cardano.
Yeah, I have another question that come to mind. Some of the big projects we are involved in, it's kind of a multi-DApp project. Like, for example, we have a big project in agriculture now in India, where we have Andamio, but also Zengate and Indian Chain from Trivoltech and other dApps. Stable coins will be used there. So there's different. Is that something also you see with Clarity when you speak with government? Do you see somehow an opportunity for a multi-DApp approach, or it's really good to go with one dApp, make it happen?
No, I don't think it's one dApp is the solution. I think that each of their departments probably have a different solution that suits them. The solution for issuing digital identities is going to look very different from the solution to allocate public funds. So yeah, I mean, all these technologies we're building are DAO adjacent, but there's going to be nuances in each product that solves which problem.
I think also as you get to know again the champion and the teams get to know you, and there will be more brainstorming. Okay, what do you need next, right? Or what's the element you need, and then it's easy then to bring other partners from the DAO or from the ecosystem in.
For sure.
Good. I mean, extremely. Yeah. Does anything else you would like to share? I mean, from your side, I think, while the markets kind of are down, and here we don't really speak about the markets because behind the scenes people are building. I mean, stuff for everyone, but people are focusing on building. So again, speaking with people like yourself and seeing the work you are doing, and other people in the DAO and other people we already had, I mean, it gives me extremely positive. First of all, why we are here, right, in Cardano, and second, I think we are really working on strong cases of blockchain that we see huge adoption, and the market will come up. So I don't know how you're feeling about that. Just kind of as a closing.
Look, obviously you don't love the price of ADA or whatever, but with that being said, I still have full conviction that decentralized record keeping systems are going to be the backbone of the future digital economy, and everything's going to be digital. You know, we have AI agents where we're going to need to have proofs to know what's real and what's not. Blockchain solves that. Privacy blockchains. You got digital identities are going to help countries, you know, have better democracies. Blockchains will be the backbone of that. So yeah, long story short is I have full conviction that blockchain is still going to be, it really has to be the backbone of trust in society, especially if you have a global digital economy. There's really no other solution. So yeah, I'm going to keep building on decentralized systems. I'm going to keep trying to drive adoption of them because I truly believe that that's what's best for humanity. Markets are down. I don't care. I'm going to keep working. So that's my take on it. Obviously, would love a little pump. Who wouldn't? But with that being said, what we're doing is it's bigger than price. It's about having the right to self-custody, the right to privacy in the digital world. It's about being able to trust our institutions. So we're after a bigger vision, but the market will come as. And one other thing that I think about, and I always think this is kind of sad, but the reality might be that really bad stuff has to happen before people are like, oh my gosh, if I would have held my dollars in stablecoins in a crypto wallet, I wouldn't have lost. Whether it's bank runs, whether it's a huge identity scandal, whether it's people starting to realize how broken the United States social security system is, like whatever it is, like bad things are going to have to happen for people to realize the value that this technology brings, which is kind of sad. But maybe if we keep talking about it enough, people will realize that we can make the switch before shit hits the fan.
Yeah, maybe people need to have reason to move from the comfort zone, right, to new opportunities and new stuff.
Exactly.
No, yep. I love these closing words. So thank you very much for coming on board and sharing what you are doing and all the work you are doing with Clarity and the Builder DAO. And yeah, I think you will be huge part of achieving this Vision 2030 KPIs. And I think again, I think we will pass them big time. But
yeah,
let's get
on. So to close on my end, I just want to say, you know, the goal of the Builder DAO is to create some of these unicorns, to create these projects that bring on 1 million users, because it is totally possible, especially when you're having invisible technology. I think I don't know what it was in the 2030 vision, but when you're having people come to these products and services and not know they're using blockchain, which is what a lot of the builders are doing. So look, the ADA price went down. We don't have much money as a DAO to give to projects, but we are doing our diligence. We're trying to fund the projects that we think have the highest potential to really increase these. But yeah, if you have any questions about the Cardano Builder DAO, come find me, come find any of the members, come ask questions. We're completely transparent about everything. You can join the Discord, you can watch all of our meetings, you can go to the KPI dashboard, you can see all the KPIs that the projects are doing. We will be putting in another treasury proposal because we think we've proven that we can be a transparent funding mechanism that tries to cut down on the waste from the treasury and fund the best teams to help us strive towards these 2030 vision as an ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, perfect closing words. I would just add one small word for me is, to close that. I mean, unicorns are great and one unicorns are great. I think parallel to the unicorn is kind of the ecosystem that will go forward. I think there will be multiple dApps integrated into the big corporates that we are speaking with and the government. So it kind of will create all the ecosystem instead of one unicorn. I think there will be, yeah. So just the concept of unicorn from VC is kind of you invest in 100 and one succeed. No, we will want, I mean, it's an ecosystem that is going to succeed with the unicorns going forward.
Yeah, a rising tide lifts all boats. So let's do it.
Perfect, sir. Thank you really for your time and info, and pleasure speaking with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, sir.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Cheryl.